Welcome to Quickshots. Quickshots.
Hey, welcome to the Quickshots with the Lurgy Monster and James Fitzgerald. That's right, I'm dressed as a booger this week, but I also am a bit of a booger this week.
I'm patient zero. Kick it off.
Oh, my days. All right, this one is for you, cuz. It's from Ryan.
Yep.
It says, how do I know if I'm overpaying in this market? Fair question.
Yeah, it's a good question too because it's hard. It is really hard. I think you just have to look at the sales that are happening. It's really the only and the best way is get you can get them from a local agent. Just get them to do you a bit of a profile of what sales have been happening in the area. If you are buying, I'm seeing increasingly some friends of mine who are engaging a valuer to help give them a bit of an insight in terms of what's selling in the area. That could be money well spent as well. But look, there is no hard and fast or simple way. You've just got to do the work and really understand what is selling in the area. And you really don't want to go any further back than a couple of months at the moment because it's old data. Even 2 months ago really is starting to get old in a market like Brisbane or Adelaide that are going up by 1 or 2%. So you just got to look at the sales, Ryan. That really is the only way. I'll throw it to you with the next one. Now, there's a bit in this. Erica says, is with house prices rising as fast as they have over the past 12, 18 months, is it possible for house prices to keep rising? And if so, why would they?
Whoa. NFI. Oh, that's good. Erica, this is a great one. Why will property prices keep rising, or how could they possibly? The short answer is yes, they can. But I guess to extend on that a little bit, they won't necessarily do that in all markets. And that's why we always talk about investing across multiple different markets because they cycle at different times. Put short, history suggests, and it's all about history and the data. When we see inflation, we will also see house prices increase. We will also see rents go up, which means yields will go up, which means in some cases it'll be easier for people to be able to buy investment properties and whatnot, and because their serviceability will be better. But also, you've got to remember, our migration tap has barely turned back on. And that's going to be the massive plug hole for us in the next, or I want to say in the short term, but also the long term, as we do a major rebuild. So we're going to have all of these migrants coming over from overseas, and we've got to have somewhere to put them. It's the old supply and demand. Interestingly, I was just having a bit of a look on realestate.com the other day in my local area of Elwood. No, I'm not buying. I'm not going to look anywhere. There was 2 listings. We are still experiencing a significant undersupply of listings and therefore that supply shortfall to meet demand. And that's where we see price growth as well. I'm trying to simplify this as best as I can, Gus, because...
Very good. Well, I think you've hit the nail on the head. The main reason people think prices will change is because of interest rates going up, whereas it has the opposite effect, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it has the opposite effect. So, good answer.
Look, I will unpack that a little bit more. I might do a little bit of a Instagram post for the people on that one too, because I am very good at A, posting things on Instagram, B, butchering things when I try to explain them with my words. This last one is, I'm going to hand this one over to you, Cuz, but we can open up for a little bit of discussion. This came from Larissa directly to your email last week. She said, how many times can you use the equity from a property that you own or have a loan for? Are you capped at just one time, or can you actually use that equity as many times as you like until you use up the balance? Good question.
It is a good question.
All the questions are good, by the way.
Every bank has different policies, but as far as I've been able to research, there's very few that cap you at the number of times that you can take out equity. The restriction is more so going to come from loan to value ratio. So the banks will cap your loan to value ratio. So whatever the value is of your property, they won't go beyond a certain ratio of that, which is normally about 80%, maybe up to 90% if you pay the mortgage insurance. So that's going to be a limiting factor. The other one is going to be serviceability, because they're going to want you to borrow that money, but they're probably going to not let you use any rental income, which you might be using that money as a deposit on another property. You're going to be capped by your servicing as well. They're going to be the restrictions more so than the number of times that you can take out equity. That I don't think is limited. It's simply going to be limited by the loan to value ratio and your ability to service that debt without factoring in like rental income. So, I don't know if there's anything else you want to discuss on that one. I guess maybe being flexible with your lenders as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to sit down with Larissa and actually talk about exactly what she's trying to understand as well, because you're quite right, guys. Each lender has different lending policies. I'm yet to ever hear of a cap that is strictly around how much or how often equity can be used. But yeah, a lot of them have very different servicing calculators. I was actually talking to NAB earlier this week, and one of the brokers at NAB, and just sort of getting an understanding about how their serviceability calculator works so differently to some of the other banks that I know a lot of our clients use. And some of that will be how much of your income they factor in. NAB, for example, or certainly in this case, they shave off 20% of your income, and they use that. So if you earn $100,000 a year, they actually only factor in 80,000. So it's all, yeah, I know, it's pretty harsh, isn't it? But it's all moving target. Yeah. But Larissa, it's an interesting one, and I think to simplify as well, if you're talking about how many times you can use one property as security, as far as we know, you can use it as many times as you like if it is flush with equity. But of course, your houses don't only need sort of $50,000 to $100,000 every time. So, it's not necessarily that you'd be using that as security for, 5, 6, 7 properties unless it was a big mama. Anyway,
Great.
That is wrapping up for Quick Shots this week. Thanks for dialing in, guys. Your questions are always amazing. We try to repeat some because we get asked the same ones a lot. So we try to repeat, but not too frequently. But we want to keep the people happy, don't we, Kaz? That's what we live to do. Keep the people happy. All right, send them through. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for rating us. It helps a whole bunch, skis. And we'll see you on the gram, and we'll see you next week.
See you, booger.
Thanks for listening to another episode of The Double Shot with your favourite cousins, Alex and James Fitzgerald. If you've got a burning question or something we absolutely need to talk about on the pod, please write to us. Both of our emails are in the show notes. For little real estate tidbits and a little bit of banter, okay, a lot of banter, you can follow us on the gram. Our handle is thedoubleshot.podcast. That, my friends, is thedoubleshot.podcast. Until next time, think of us when you sit back and sip your next double shot.